Hi, everybody. Legal Vices here, bringing you a review of the afternoon of day 4 of the Karen Reed murder trial. In the morning, they went through one witness, the firefighter lady who swore up and down she had no idea that the victim was found on the property of her friend's dad. Yeah. Then they went out. They took the jury on a site visit to the house. They looked at the car and other things that are related to this trial. And then they came back to the courthouse for the afternoon session. The afternoon session began with Greg Woodbury, who's a lieutenant firefighter paramedic. He was another lip smacker. All of these witnesses, I don't know if it's a Boston thing, a Massachusetts thing, a New England thing, but every one of them starts their sentences with this little lip smack, and it is really annoying. I wish they would. I don't know if it's just like an affectation for that area or what, but they all do it. Greg Woodbury, he testified that there was snow and that he had to shovel off the fire station driveway. And immediately the prosecutor got off a what if question right out of the gate. And the judge stepped in and told the firefighter and the prosecutor to move on from the testimony about him shoveling snow from the driveway of the fire department. He said he received a dispatch shortly after 6 a.m. And when they arrived, he, quote, saw some people doing something. And he saw, quote, someone giving CPR. And then he went to help. He couldn't remember the victim's name when he was asked who the victim was. He said the victim was covered in snow, where we'd heard other testimony previously say that there was like a light dusting or maybe a little bit, an inch or so of snow. But he said he was covered with snow. He also testified to bruising on John O'Keefe's right eye. He said it was very prominent bruising and scratches on the right forearm. He said he did a quick evaluation of Karen Reed to determine how much of a threat she was to herself or to others. And she said she didn't want to go to the hospital, but it was determined that she may be a threat to herself. So they gave her the ultimatum that she could go the easy way or the hard way. She could go voluntarily, or they would make sure she went involuntarily. So she eventually agreed to go with him, he said. So the police believed that she was a threat to herself or others, and she had to go to this hospital for the evaluation. And he testified that Karen kept asking, "Is he dead? Is he dead?" Then on cross-examination, the lawyer asked, "What did you hear?" And he said, "Is he dead?" over and over again. He again mentioned the swollen eye and scratches on the right forearm. And then it was a little bit interesting. They put up pictures of the scratch wounds on O'Keefe's arm. And the judge called a sidebar, brought everybody to the sidebar. The jury went out. Then the jury came back, and then they confirmed that the photo was accurate. So that was pretty a non-critical witness. Daniel Whitley was called as the next witness. He was a paramedic firefighter. He was the worst lip smacker so far, but he would also go he'd be like or and sometimes he would put 2 or 3 times in a sentence. It was really frustrating. But I wish they wouldn't do that. He said that Karen said, "I don't want to live if my husband dies." She said husband a few times. She asked if anyone could survive in the cold without a jacket for several hours. Daniel Whitley so far is the only person that's ever testified to hearing her say anything like that. She asked if anyone could survive in the cold without a jacket for several hours. That was probably the most damning testimony to come out of probably any of the prosecution witnesses so far. But we'll have to see how much weight it's given. Again, he's the only one that testified to this. And again, she said husband many, many times, the guy said. And he was the one that took her to the psych ward. He was the one that drove her to the psych ward for the evaluation. He said she was giving the nurse a hard time about giving a urine sample. And then on cross-examination, we learned that Karen Reed has multiple sclerosis. The next witness was Jason Becker. He was the lead paramedic. They called him the tech. He was the lead paramedic. He wrote the reports. He said that a Canton police officer said that Karen was O'Keefe's wife. He said that Karen was distraught. She often referred to her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, as her husband. And she repeatedly asked the paramedics if he's dead. And she said the last thing that she said to him was an argument, and she felt sad about that. That was what the paramedic testified having heard from her. And said initially she denied having any alcohol. And Karen repeatedly asked, could he be dead? Could I have hit him? Which is interesting because the other people were saying that she's saying, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. He testified that she was asking, could I have hit him? Repeatedly. On cross-examination, the witness testified that he didn't specify a time period regarding the question about consuming alcohol. When he asked the question, he assumed that the question meant, have you consumed alcohol within the past few hours? Not, was it days or weeks or months prior to that? So he said that he didn't smell any alcohol on her breath. But then he also testified that Michael Proctor, the investigator, the lead investigator who apparently did some shady stuff, which you've heard about during the opening statements if you watch those during the defense's open statements. But Michael Proctor interviewed him 2 weeks after the incident, and he admitted, of course, as they always do, that his memory would have been better 2 weeks after the incident than 2 years after the accident. And he told Proctor at that time that she told him that she had consumed alcohol the previous night. Remember, this was 6:00 in the morning. So she testified, she told the paramedic at that time that she had consumed alcohol the previous night, whereas during direct examination, he couldn't remember that. And there was a question on redirect, and that was just about it. It was a very, very short day, not a lot involved. Pretty uneventful because there was a big chunk where they were gone for lunch, a big chunk where they were gone to view the property, and then we covered the first witness live. You can go back and check that out on the day 4 live broadcast.